The Trump administration says it's set to release all of the government's classified files in the 1963 assassination of President John F. Kennedy. Trump says people have been waiting decades for this, and the 80,000 pages he says that he could release this afternoon. Kennedy was shot and killed on November 22nd, 1963, while riding in a motorcade in Dallas. His assassination has long been the subject of conspiracy theories after Lee Harvey Oswald, the suspect, was shot and killed days later. Joining us now, Jefferson Morley, author of JFK Facts and a former Washington Post reporter. What are the biggest unanswered questions that these unredacted files could actually answer?
To understand what's going to come out, you need to understand what's been released in recent years. And what we've learned in the last 20 years, all of it undermines the official story that one man killed the president for no reason. That theory is no longer tenable. It's not factually supported. The doctors in Dallas who tried to save Kennedy's life agreed he had been shot from two different directions. The CIA knew far, far more about Lee Harvey Oswald than they ever told any investigation. So those are the areas where I think, we can learn something, particularly about the CIA and Lee Harvey Oswald. That story was totally buried by the Warren Commission. It was not known to congressional investigators in the 1970s. It's really only been learned in the last couple of years. And so this is the area where there's potential for a real breakthrough if we see the documents. Of course, the documents were promised today and we still haven't seen them.
I mean, you've pored over these documents like no one else. Is there any evidence, though, that redactions in already released documents up to this point have covered up key details? Would things in an unredacted document change the popular narrative? And so how so?
In April of 2023, the CIA released a 62-year-old document which identified the name of the man who was reading Lee Harvey Oswald's mail while President Kennedy was in the Oval Office. So the surveillance of Oswald has been a very carefully controlled secret. The Warren Commission was told, and the Warren Commission told the world, the CIA didn't know anything about this man, and he just came and killed the president. That story, we now know, thanks to documents released in recent years, is false. A small group of top CIA officials monitored Lee Harvey Oswald from November 1959 to November 1963, and then, when asked questions about it after the president was dead, lied about it and said they didn't know anything about him. So we know that story is false now, and the documents to be released may well shed some light on why is the CIA lying about this.
Do you buy at all the national security argument here that this could be jeopardizing to, the integrity of the CIA or FBI if they release some of this information?
I mean, I have no doubt that this information will be highly embarrassing to the CIA. And people in the CIA believe that if you embarrass the CIA, that harms U.S. national security. I don't think most people outside of the CIA buy that argument. They agree that a secret intelligence agency should be held accountable, especially in the case of a presidential assassination. There's not 80,000 names of sensitive agents in those documents. There may be a handful of names, but, the classification, the national security justification for withholding information, that is so often abused that the law that is in effect now, the JFK Record Act, says that's no longer a valid objection, okay? And the law says something that the CIA has never done. The law says in every document that the CIA withholds, they have to provide an explanation of the damage that it would do by releasing it. And they have to do that for every single document. The CIA has never done that. And so it's just kind of a blanket exemption that they can hide stuff that, just embarrasses them. They'd rather not talk about, and they just want it to all go away, But people are saying, the president is saying, no, it's not going away. You really do have to produce this stuff and produce it now. So today's a hopeful day. President's rhetoric is good, but implementation is everything on this order, and we still haven't seen the documents.
For someone who's a citizen sleuth, someone who's able to log on to archives.gov, try and take a look, if these documents are in fact released today, what would you suggest looking for? What will you, The second this is posted, I presume that you'll be using the same computer you're using now to try and look into as many as possible. What will you be looking for?
I'll look at some of the key names in the JFK story, top CIA officials who knew about Oswald before the assassination, people like James Angleton, David Phillips. So there's a lot of redacted information about these people. And then also, the major topics that run through the JFK story. CIA operations in Mexico City, CIA operations in Miami, CIA manipulation of the media. These are all the subject of redacted documents in this collection. So we're going to be drilling down kind of topic by topic to see what exactly is new about these key themes and key personalities in the events of November 1963.
Look, I'm curious. We talked a lot about this during Trump's first administration, starting in 2017. We're now talking about it again now that he's back in office. As you noted, there were certain document releases during the Biden administration, but these really have, these document releases have become flashpoints in some cases for conservatives. Representative Anna Paulina Luna from Florida, Republican from Florida, is someone who's pushed for these documents to be out there as well. Why do you think that these files have become such a flashpoint for conservatives?
I mean, I think it's a flashpoint for everybody. I don't think that this is a partisan political issue. I'm not a MAGA supporter. I'm a liberal. And the readership of my publication is very diverse from right to left, and including the center. I think the reason this sticks around is the official story is not credible. And the evidence that has emerged in recent years undermines and contradicts it. So the official theory that one man came along and shot a president who he admired, that's not plausible anymore. So we need a better explanation of what happened on November 22nd. So people say, oh, well, Jeff, what's your theory? I don't have a theory. It's not my job to come up with a theory. It's the government's job to obey the law and release the records. I mean, it's really ridiculous that we're kind of talking about this and then the process is being dragged out. And frankly, it's getting a little suspicious. Is the CIA going to comply or not? The clock's ticking. We were promised stuff today. Now, I know things happen. People at the archives are being dragooned into scanning JFK documents all day. We know that. Lawyers at the Justice Department were scanning documents all last night, So they're trying to get something out. We hope that we see it. But until we see the documents, the CIA's record of malfeasance in the Kennedy assassination is so long and so consistent that they've lost the benefit of the doubt. They need to provide the records. Then we can talk about what it all means. But until we have full disclosure, something's wrong with our system. Because the people, the president, everybody wants full disclosure. Who's really opposed to this? Some people at the CIA? They need to get with it and realize it's time to obey the law.
61 years later, yet here we are still searching for answers. Jefferson Morley, author of JFK Facts. Thank you so much.